Guys, one question apiece.
Roger, you seemed to up your game considerably in the second set after the first set. Was it a question of playing freer after winning a tight first set?
I mean, I think it was probably a combination of the sun being gone. Always plays into how good you see the ball and how you can feel. And obviously, the beginning of the match can be rocky sometimes. And then I think with the one set lead, you also do loosen up a bit. So I think it was a combination of those three things, yeah.
Roger, when you look across the net at him, do you see a spectacularly talented, unpredictable guy, or do you see a guy who's maybe not as professional as he should be, having trouble pulling his stuff together, and maybe not getting the results he might otherwise?
Well, when I'm playing, I feel like unpredictable player with an enormous serve, and who can just turn it on whenever he wants to do it, and that's changes your mindset a little bit as a player, as a top player. That all of a sudden you feel like you have to be the consistent guy, you know, rather than you being the flashy guy. So just because he has tendency to throw in the odd shot that you don't just normally see on the tour like that.
Roger, when the match was in a flashier stretch, I guess in the third set, you had the around the net post shot. Do you think that? Could you sense that he was trying to make sort of highlight real points, or did it seem like business as usual? Did it seem like he set you up for a few of those short, chippy shots?
Well, I was thinking about it while he was doing it, you know. Other guys play the shot you're supposed to hit, and then if you get beat, you know, you're like, well, maybe I should have hit Nick's shot. Nick goes the other way around, he hits that shot, but then if he doesn't win that point, maybe he tells himself, well, maybe I should have hit a normal shot. So it just goes the other way around, and he's very good at doing these shots too. Clearly at 40-15 he should have hit a normal forehand, you know, in the open court, and he chooses to go for like sort of the drop shot, which at the end cost him the match. So clearly when you play that way and you lose, it's always like you feel like he's so much to blame, but that's just how he plays, you know. And yeah, that's why we go back to being super consistent, make him hit that one extra ball. But because when you play like this, it can also work against you rather than someone just going for it. You have tendency to play safe as well, which then can, you know, be an advantage for him. But today, I think he didn't come up with the goods, you know, when he really had to, and I was good, I think, by making him hit that extra shot. So things worked well for me today.
These flashy, spectacular shots may not win you slams, but they're a lot of fun, and fans obviously love them. You hit that great overhead in Italy years ago off of Roddick's overhead, which I imagine you recall.
In Basel.
Oh, Basel, thank you.
Oh, man. I remember. It was not Italy, I can tell you that.
Sorry for that anti-Swiss slur. Anyway.
I was able to plug Switzerland, so all good.
What do you think your greatest spectacular shots have been in your career, and was that one up there with them?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the more unique ones. Like I explained on court, you don't get an opportunity to hit around the net post very often, because in practice you can't really train them because the net is out further and the court is more narrow. So for a shot like this to happen in a practice, you will be running into a fence. And you will hit it into the net. So these shots can only really happen on a big court where you play with the single posts, you know, in the doubles alley. I've hit a few throughout my career, and sure, they're always fun, just because sometimes you can sort of aim for it because you realize you have an option more, which you just never have. And as you're hitting it, you're like, oh, I can just shove it down the line and flat, you know? So, and that's what happened today. So I definitely think it was a special one, no doubt about it. I do believe the smash of the smash against Roddick was special just because it was way back in the court as well. And then there was one more in Dubai against Agassi on break point. I was able to flick a ball. I still don't know how I did it today, and it went for a lob over him, and I don't know. It was just a massive point on top of it. So, and it was against Andre. So, and then the one through the legs here against Novak, just because of the magnitude of shot as well, being I think it was 6-5 love 30. It was just also a big time moment as well in the game, which obviously always matters as well.
By the way, there's no recording for the seats.
Yes.
Okay. Willie, and then Howard.
Roger, what do you most want other players to learn from the way you conduct yourself?
Well, I think to play fair and play tough, I don't know. I hope they look to me, or parents look to me and think that, they would be happy that maybe their son would behave like this on a tennis court, or tried as hard as I did, But there's many other athletes, and especially also other tennis players, who do a wonderful job at that as well. But if I can be of any sort of inspiration for guys coming up on the tour, that'd be great, in whatever shape and form that is.
How important do you think, not just for that particular moment of the match, but maybe for the tenor of the match moving forward, was that 3-all love 40 game? And I'm sort of asking you that now, but I'm also wondering, in the moment, do you sense that that could be a very pivotal moment moving forward, or is it just that?
I think against any big server, 3-all love 40 is a big game, because it could be that a big server also himself won't see that many opportunities down the stretch. That's what happened for him too. And I know if I can somehow dig myself out of that game, I don't know how I got into the love 40 game, into the love 40 position. It's just huge to try to get out of it somehow. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be crazy shot making. It just has to somehow, you have to get back to juice somehow, and then maybe you can breathe a bit. I know the importance of it, of course. I've been around the block for long enough, and I just struggled early on, I struggled with the backhand, hit too many errors there. Maybe it was parts of it to do with the light, I'm not sure, but I also felt like, Nick was inspired. He knew what he wanted to do, and I didn't quite, off the baseline, get the right balance going. And I think then after it was also a lot of deuce games. It was a long deuce game too after the love 40. So I think it was just important to somehow get out of it and stay with him for 4-3, and then probably look at a tiebreaker. But I was able to break earlier, which was clearly great, because I had no sniff on any of his service games in the first 3 or 4. But I didn't get discouraged, and I think that was also the key today.
A general question about tie breaks. You've got a fantastic record in tie breaks through your career. How differently do you play tie breaks compared with any other games?
I think it really depends on how the set has gone. Do you play better as the set goes forward, or sometimes you also have a feeling that you go in a breaker and you're just like, it's just not happening. I'm not feeling the serve. The return's not happening. The plays are going his way. And that's, I think, when you go with a negative mindset into a breaker, very often you also either start poorly and then you lose it anyhow, or you actually start well and you're like, well, I probably shouldn't be in the lead, and then you end up losing it. So I think a very positive mindset is good. Obviously, if you have a good serve, that's always helpful. So I think you want to play patiently aggressive, I would think. You don't want to go for broke, you don't want to do for crazy things, but it does sometimes pay off as well. So you have to always balance it right. But the tiebreakers are huge, especially in big-time moments like Grand Slam finals or finals in general. It's where you really, really want to win the breakers.
Roger, were you aware that he imitated your serve in the first set? And what do you think of a player doing something like that during a Grand Slam match?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's a Grand Slam match or a first round of any other 250 tournament or any place. We've all imitated serves. Sure, it's unusual for it to happen against you with your own serve. Yes, of course, I know right away when he imitates my serve, and I've seen him doing it several times over the last few months also, that he's been using my serve sometimes to great effect, which I'm very happy to see that it's a technique that works. No, I'm joking. Anyway, that's good fun. Look, I take it like just as it is. I think in Stuttgart maybe, or in some other place, he warmed up against me only hitting my serves. So I know it's about warming up the shoulder. But other guys probably use their own technique, but he does it differently. So it's all good,
One last question right there.
A lot of players are very superstitious, and are you? And if so, what sorts of things do you do or try to avoid on the court or before a match? And I also heard that you're a little bit partial to the number 8. Is that true?
Number 8 only because I'm born on the 8th of the 8th in 81. So I like that number. So there's not that much more to it, to be quite honest. And then, no, I'm not very superstitious. So I don't know how much I can tell you. I can try to dig and tell you. I just try to be on time, so I'm not late for my matches. Because I go back to the junior days where all of a sudden it's like, okay, and where is this kid Roger? The match is on, and I don't know. You're nowhere to be found, and then you're like playing games with your friends in the forest, and you're like, okay, match, and sure, here you come. So I'm always scared that I'm gonna miss a match because I'm gonna be stuck in traffic, so I'd just like to be on time wherever I go. On the court itself, I have no superstitions, to be honest. I don't mind stepping on lines. I don't mind which side of the court I sit on. I don't mind which racket I start with. No, thankfully not. I always told myself. Also, the box doesn't have to sit the same. I know everybody has different. I'm not like that. I always said, like, if they're not around, I can still play tennis. It's better if they're there. I just wanted to be independent, to be honest. I guess that's what it is as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Swiss press only, room 2.
Okay.